Lumix have really taken into consideration the real needs of a photographer when he is in the field. Hello and welcome back on my channel, Didier Moulin speaking, a photographer based in France. Thank you to be back again watching this video. I hope you like the new settings of my studio. I changed everything so I have better space here to work and to make this video. Thank you also to all those subscribers to have joined me during this year, and I have reached 500 subscribers recently, and I'm really happy for that, and I thank you so much, and it gives me lots of motivation to go on, to continue. Today I want to address something very powerful with the Lumix S1 and S1R cameras, which is directly linked to the ISO settings and to the shutter speed when you are in the aperture priority mode. And I want to illustrate the powerful features that we can find in the Lumix compared to many cameras. So I have a Nikon D3s, a Leica Q, Leica SL2, I have a Ricoh GR2, and I have also a Leica TL2. Let's see right now in different camera the way to address this and how it works with the Lumix. You will understand. So the first one would be the Nikon D3s. So what is the purpose? The purpose is then when you press the ISO button here, you can select if the value of the ISO here, but you cannot switch from auto to a specific value in the Nikon D3s. So what you have to do is you have to go into the menu, you can go either into the shooting menu, or you can have put this feature into my menu, and you go into ISO sensitivity settings, and in this case you select yes or no on the auto ISO, and when you have activated on for auto ISO, you can select the maximum sensitivity that you want. And what you can do then is you can save those different settings into the shooting menu bank, and in the same time you can save the minimum or maximum shutter speed that you want, and this is also set into the auto sensitivity settings, where you set the maximum sensitivity and the minimum shutter speed. Let's see with the Leica Q. In this case, you have into the menu, you can have this specific submenu, which is Réglage Auto ISO, settings of Auto ISO, and in this menu, you change the maximum shutter speed and the maximum ISO value. And of course, you can save several custom settings, and then you can switch from one profile to another one, just clicking the FN button here, and you select the profile that you want. It's quite simple with the Leica Q, but again, if the value is not what you want precisely at this moment, either you have these custom settings that exist and you quickly change the custom settings from one to another one, and then you have your new maximum ISO and maximum shutter speed. Same story with the Leica TL2. You can go into this ISO settings, and in this case you give the maximum shutter speed here, and you give the maximum ISO settings here, for instance, sorry. And once you have done, it's okay. You can also save them into different customer settings menu, but again, each time you will change from one menu to another one. Let's say here I have the where am I profile user settings, charge the user settings, and I have 3 that are saved, and I can charge one here. Okay, if the settings of the ISO are not the one that I want, I will change them manually, or I can load another custom settings, load a new profile, and I can load this one. But you see that the procedure is it takes time. You have to click on the screen, or with the other camera you have to click on buttons, or with the D3s you have to go into the submenu. But you see that it's not fast, and I do it on purpose to show you what is the power of the Lumix S1, and I will show you it very soon. So now, how does it work with the Ricoh GR2? You have this button here at the back with which you can select the ISO value. So for instance, auto or something else. So here already you see that it's more interesting than on the Nikon D3s, because here when you press ISO, you can switch from auto to a specific value. So this is already the first good thing. But then when you want to change the minimum shutter speed, you need to go in a specific submenu, sensitivity auto settings. Here you select the maximum the maximum ISO that you want when you are in auto mode, the minimum, and the speed, of course, the shutter speed. You can select it, and it is blocked to 1/250 with the GR2. If I want to change it, either I have set it to the my 1, 2, and 3 menu, but again, if I switch to my 1, 2, and 3, I switch also all the other settings, or I have to go into the sub menu and come here and change the minimum shutter speed depending on the situation. And now the last one before I show you the Lumix S1 and S1R is the Leica SL2. One button here, ISO auto yes or a specific value, and one button here, max auto ISO and max shutter speed. So let's see now how the Lumix S1R works. Here I am now with the Lumix S1R. You have the ISO button here on the top. One button here, you press it, you change from auto ISO to a specific value, and with the front wheel you change the limit of the auto ISO. The other one is when I click on the left direction with the joystick, I change the minimum shutter speed. So here I am back with the Lumix S1. So I think you have understood the complexity that it can be to change these parameters, which are auto ISO yes or no, what is the limit of this auto ISO, and what is the minimum shutter speed. Depending on the brands, they call it minimum or maximum shutter speeds, but you have understood the meaning of that. Lumix have really taken into consideration the real needs of a photographer when he is in the field. Let me explain. You are in a situation where you set your maximum ISO to, let's say, 3200, and then you set your minimum shutter speed to 1/250. Okay, it means that you are in a street, for instance, street photography, and you have these settings that works for f8, and you can go. Then suddenly you go into, let's say you are in a church or a specific building which is quite dark, but there is no moving subject inside. So then you can reduce the shutter speed. You can go with a slower shutter speed and let's say take 1/30th of a second, which is very slow, but you have the IBIS that will control the blur of your own movement. And in this situation, you lower the shutter speed, so that means that you will not ask the camera to reach a very high ISO limit. And then you take your picture and you are happy because the subject is not moving and you have the ability to take it at 1/30 of a second. Then you go out of this building and again you are in the street and again you want to change the speed and you go, oh, here I am, 250, 1/250 seconds. And then you can see that, oh my god, this subject is moving very fast, and then I am on 1/1000 of a second, and so on and so forth. This is very powerful, and they have understood how a photographer wants the camera to work, and none of all these cameras that I have shown before can address this feature so quickly. And this leads to the conclusion that I have taken is that you never need to change your custom settings menu from C1, C2, C3, or My 1, My 2, My 3, or menu shutter, menu bank settings, or customer settings, or profile, or whatever. These profiles are more dedicated to other features, and the ISO and the shutter speed can be addressed very quickly with the joysticks and the dedicated ISO button. And this is very powerful with the Lumix, and I hope that you have learned something today with this camera. So see you in the next video, have a good day, and talk to you soon. Don't hesitate to, of course, subscribe, leave any comments below. And if you want some specific video on the Lumix S1 and S1R, don't hesitate to ask, and I will take the time to make this video. See you, goodbye.